Rourke is a deformed criminal given a new face and a new life in Johnny Handsome. Missing in action for 17 years, Chris Christopherson returns from Vietnam in Welcome Home. And Tim Robbins is Erik the Viking, a peaceful man in a world of war. It's all coming up next on Siskel&Ebert.
You don't got anything to worry about. You done great at work. You look like a great guy who's out there. So you got a terrific girl that believes in you. How could it not give you parole? I got a good feeling. I think it's going to be okay.
Mickey Rourke plays a deformed criminal given a second chance at life through plastic surgery in a thriller called Johnny Handsome. It's one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel&Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is named Johnny Handsome, and it's a throwback to those stylish films of the 40s in which an anti-hero prowled the lonely city streets looking for danger while a good woman begged him to go straight. The movie stars Mickey Rourke as the ironically named Johnny Handsome, a criminal who was born with a disfigured face but who has been given a new face through plastic surgery and a new identity. As he gets ready to leave prison on parole, however, he learns that not everybody wishes him well.
I know who you are, and I know what you are. And we both know right where you're going, don't we, Johnny?
That's Morgan Freeman as a hostile police detective. One person who does believe in Johnny is one of the first women he meets after he rejoins civilian life, and she is played by Elizabeth McGovern.
Hey, I'm not so sure that you can count on me. Huh? I'm not so sure that I'm what you want.
I'm a big girl. I don't need you to tell me what I want. I know what I want.
Johnny still lives in a cruel world, however, and 2 of the toughest people in it are played by Lance Henriksen and Ellen Barkin, who have a vicious plan for using Johnny.
I'll tell you something, Sonny. Don't bet on this new guy. I know you got eyes for him, but he's a loser. I can smell it. I'm going to take him out big when the time gets right.
Meanwhile, Johnny Handsome shows a gift for mistrusting the good guys and putting his fate in the hands of his enemies.
This deal is so damn hot. Why come to us?
Well, new around here. I don't know anybody else.
You don't know me, buddy.
Sure I do. You and Sonny both from the Prestige job.
What do you know about that?
Shut up, stupid.
I know about the Prestige job. Johnny Handsome.
I don't think you know what you're messing with.
I enjoyed Johnny Handsome for a lot of reasons, and one of them is that the movie has an original and unexpected ending instead of the usual Hollywood cop-out. I also admired Mickey Rourke's performance. I like the way he takes chances with roles like this, especially a role in which you might get some bad laughs if you weren't able to carry it off correctly. And I enjoyed the especially high level of the supporting performances in the movie from first-rate people like Elizabeth McGovern, Morgan Freeman, and Ellen Barkin, who seems to be in about every other movie made these days. The movie was directed by Walter Hill, whose credits include 48 Hours and Streets of Fire, and who makes this film feel like one of those old 40s movies, I'm thinking of one that Bogart was in, where the hero gets a new face but still has the same suspicious heart.
I think it's a very good film, and you forgot Forrest Whitaker, another terrific actor. They really have this picture packed with really solid performers. And what I enjoyed about the film is the level of anger and meanness that just runs through everybody in this picture. They're really playing for keeps. It's a really dangerous kind of film, and I wish it had almost been shot in black and white, and that's a compliment to the picture because it is so elemental, so pure, so nicely shot, crisply, high energy, and, as you say, a powerhouse ending.
What it has is that cynicism and pessimism of the best film noir films of the 40s. It is not so many recent films seem to have stars or directors who want to have, the star cannot be seen in a very negative way. He has to, at the end, he has to come out to be a nice guy, or he has to be seen in a favorable light. This is, as you said, it's a dangerous, angry, bitter movie, and that's what's good about it.
Well, I love, that's what I'm always looking for, a little high energy, not TV, some anger. Okay, next film, and it's a cowboy movie, a modern cowboy movie called War Party, and it's set on a Blackfoot Indian reservation in Montana, where the mayor of the town has the bright idea of increasing tourism by having the local Indians and a bunch of good old boys from the town reenact a bloody Indian and cavalry war. That's very smart. It's like having some Japanese and Americans reenact the bombing of Hiroshima. The film, however, does a good job of mixing myth with everyday mundane realities as the Indian boys plan their role in this fake battle.
Sonny, I need 4 names before you guys got to die.
How many guys die on that side, Howard?
35. They lose 30. That's what we agreed on.
Okay. Well, they got the guns. Louis, stand and skid. You guys ride around for about 5 minutes and fall off.
Well, you can probably guess what happens during the battle. Yes, that's right. One of the good old boys, carrying a grudge, uses real ammo, not blank. Now the Indians are on the run in full dress, and a couple of local guys try to shoot at them from a small plane.
They're shooting arrows.
Nice shot. I have conflicting thoughts about War Party. On one hand, its premise and some of its action scenes are totally preposterous. At the same time, I did enjoy the way the director, Frank Rodham, mixes modern conveniences constantly intruding on the action that is supposed to be a throwback to olden times. You see people smoking cigarettes, cans of beers, and he very consciously keeps cutting in those shots and setting up an interesting visual conflict. I was moved also at the film's end, so I'm going to give it thumbs up with this warning. You may not believe a moment of War Party, but I don't think it's likely that you're going to forget it.
Well, I don't think that cigarettes and cans of beer are that much of a modern convenience as I think they might have had them in the Old West, too. But what disappointed me about this movie was the unquestioned level of racism all the way through it. The whites and the Indians hate each other at the beginning. They hate each other at the end. There's no relief from that. There's no argument in the movie, really, that it's wrong. It's almost a given that they don't like each other and that they're going to shoot at each other.
Well, Roger, I think that the point of the film...
very depressing.
Okay, but that doesn't mean it's bad. The point of the film is that this stuff is still there. It's right on the surface.
No, that's the point of the film. Do you think that's true? I don't think it's true.
My intuition...
I don't think that people out in the West who are... some people are Indians and some people who are white are out there shooting at each other all the time. I don't think they all hate each other. And I don't think that this movie shows a three-dimensional portrait of that kind of a society.
I think, well, first of all, there are some people... The mayor actually believes, seems like a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
And he comes up with a screwball idea.
Yeah.
I don't think that all people are one way or another. I mean, I don't think you think so either.
No, but the movie is unredeeming in the assumption that the solution to this problem is to see who can shoot the most people.
I think that we have, regrettably in this country, as we've seen in all kinds of pictures, be they Do the Right Thing or this film, we have a lot of racism in this land. And I think it's lingering right under the surface.
Yeah, but I don't think this movie is about racism as a subject. I think it just uses racism for entertainment, and that's what I wasn't
entertained, and neither were you in the conventional sense. You were depressed by it, and I think that the film is on target when it gets that reaction from you. I really do. Not a great picture, but I was moved.
Coming up next, Chris Christopherson stars in Welcome Home, the story of an American soldier who returns home from Vietnam about 17 years after everybody else.
You realize if you go through with this, you may be returning to face charges of desertion.
Fingerprints on glass, spots on mirrors. Every day I clean them. Spray on the cleaner, scrub with one paper towel, dry with another. 3 messy steps. But today, there's Glassmates wipes with liquid cleaner built in. Just wipe and leave wet. Glassmates dries to a shine. No streaks. Try Glassmates. It's one step easy.
Oh, what people do to clean tough stains from under the rim. Because for some bowl cleaners, that's a tough reach. But not for Lysol toilet bowl cleaner. Its angle neck easily goes under the rim to wipe out tough stains and germs. So look, all you need is Lysol toilet bowl cleaner. The heavyweight with a powerful new angle on cleaning.
Since Lauren arrived, life's been full of surprises. So I bought Lysol cleaner to keep the house as clean as it can be. Cleaner. What really surprised me was its fresh lemon scent. Other cleaners can clean too, but most can't disinfect like Lysol.
Lysol deodorizing cleaner with a lemon fresh scent.
I like Lysol.
Our next movie is named Welcome Home, and it stars Chris Christopherson as an American soldier who's taken prisoner in Vietnam and held captive for 4 years before he escapes into the jungle. Now there he's able to begin a new life with a Cambodian wife and 2 children. He can't escape because the situation in Vietnam and Cambodia would mean instant death for him. But then in 1988 he's discovered and returns home to America, where the fact that he is still alive causes some embarrassing problems.
You don't think they'd be tempted to cover it up if they knew for sure there were other guys being held over there?
Christopherson discovers that the wife he left behind in America remarried some years after his reported death, and he parks on the street across from her house hoping to get a glimpse of the son he's never seen. Instead, she sees him. That's Jo Beth Williams, and a very good performance as the wife. The question is, should he have even tried to re-enter her life? His son, who loves his stepfather and never knew Christopherson, doesn't think so.
I asked somebody what would happen if a guy who was supposed to be dead showed up from Vietnam after 17 years. He said that guy would either be a hero or a deserter. If you're a hero, I guess I'd have seen you on TV, right?
Finally, this man decides he can no longer pretend to be invisible as part of a cover-up. He takes his secret story to his state's senator.
What can I do for you on my vacation, Lieutenant?
I was shot down over Cambodia in June 1970. I came out of Cambodia 3 months ago.
That's a very dramatic scene. This guy is sitting on a bombshell here, obviously, of publicity. What would happen if it turned out that America knew there were a lot of alive prisoners over there and wasn't doing anything about it? It leads to another good scene where the senator tries to call the bluff of the U.S. military, which is directing a cover-up. But Welcome Home is a frustrating movie because it never seems quite as compelling as it ought to. It doesn't have the energy level you expect. It's a quiet, introspective, moody, sad film, and while I admired those qualities, I would have liked a little more fire and emotion as well. Welcome Home might have been a great film, but instead, it's a near miss. It was, by the way, the final film directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, who died earlier this year, and his credits include such fine films as Patton and Papillon.
Yeah, it missed for me, even though I liked the premise. I liked the idea of somebody coming back, and as you quite probably say, should they re-enter that life? And of course they want to. Now, if the film, I think, had been a little more minimal, instead of bringing in the outside politicians and the outside soldier, the outside military guy, so it has almost like a Rambo kind of quality. If it had stayed in that personal kind of story, like the movie In Country that we talked about last week, I think that this picture could have worked. But there's so many scenes that you notice the actors. The Brian Keith role, the father, seems overplayed. I wanted these people to speak out what was really on their mind, or not speak at all, just be observing from the sideline.
Well, you know, first of all, it's clear from the movie that it had a very intelligent script that asks and deals with all the important questions. But then the movie just doesn't really seem to work up the conviction about it that we expect. Now, I don't know anything about how this movie was made, but I do know that Franklin Schaffner died. And I do know that he was in the habit in most of his movies of really being able to edit them in such a way that they would pay off at the end. I have a feeling maybe this is the kind of movie that might have, if he had lived, been at a sneak preview and he would have said, gee, it needs a little tinkering. Let's tighten it up a little.
Well, I think tightening it up would have been to simplify it, strip away some of the more Hollywood touches. Coming up next, Queen of Hearts, a comic drama about an immigrant Italian family struggling to prosper in London.
Here, Mama. You want more kids or something?
From Touchstone Pictures, when they framed him,
Freeze! They shot me!
he fought for his rights.
You know I'm innocent!
When they sent him to prison,
You better get with the program, punk.
he fought for his life.
I'm tougher than you.
And now that he's out, he's fighting for justice.
I'm not getting into this, guys.
How often did the con get a chance to get some justice, huh?
Tom Selleck, An Innocent Man, rated R.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Our next film is called Queen of Hearts, and it's a very good small film that may get overlooked by people who are focusing on all the promotional push for some big American pictures. It's sort of a gritty London version of Moonstruck, following an Italian immigrant family trying to survive in England. And the comparison with Moonstruck is valid, I think, because this, too, is a very fine film. It takes the form of a childhood memory as a young little boy named Eddie looks back at his feuding, loving family. His older brother, Bruno, wants to work on his own away from the family cafe.
I got a job. I know. Over there, behind the bar, huh?
Said you seen them. What kind of job?
Now everyone's getting a job, huh?
It's in town. The entertainment industry. Did you really think it was funny?
Oh, the entertainment industry. Scusa, Rosa. Now, the only time this boy smiles is when he's leaving his home. Huh?
There are sweet moments, too, like when Eddie's grandfather arrives from the old country.
Eduardo, Papa, è più piccolo.
The major family tension is provided by that errant older brother who gets a job as a mob juice collector for closing on a neighbor's betting shop.
You kicked the Gennaro hat.
Yeah, he did.
We're repossessed. It's what happens. You don't pay a debt, someone comes to collect. That's the law. That's business. You don't make repayments on the coffee machine, it gets taken back.
How you knew about that?
Well, that is my job.
Queen of Hearts has a lot of heart and comedy and restraint. It doesn't try to oversell itself as an epic. The film was directed by John Emile, who made the celebrated TV miniseries in England, The Singing Detective. And here, with a fine script by Tony Grisani, he creates a fine cast of characters, not caricatures. This is an epic, but it sneaks up on you and becomes one with humor and with great drama.
I'm in complete agreement with you. This is a heartwarming movie. This is a movie that feels good, that involves us, that has some tragedy in it, that has some life in it, that has some warmth in it, and you really get a feeling for this family. And it compares with Moonstruck in another way, too, and that is there's always that suggestion of a little bit of magic floating through, you know,
right.
That above the level of the mundane human lives that can be explained in ordinary ways, there are little coincidences and tiny little miracles that maybe kind of drift into our lives and change their course and influence them. And the willingness of the movie to embrace that level is one of the things I like about it, along with everything else. This could be a sleeper. This could be one people could catch on to.
Oh, I think they should. I hope they'll catch it. To be able to use a sequence involving a talking pig's head on a dinner table and pull it off is very difficult. At the same time, try and be naturalistic as well, and let these stories of families, where the families just don't become cute and the old people aren't cute. There's some real flesh and blood on the screen. It's very well done.
It's a real nice film. Coming up next, Erik the Viking, an epic comedy-adventure movie in which no one quite falls off the edge of the world.
Would you behead him, please?
Oh, no! Take all my sheep, all of them!
Oh, that's a good idea. Take all his sheep.
Whoever said diamonds are a girl's best friend never thought gems like these. Ruby red strawberry cheesecake, flawless chocolate mousse, precious brownies. Treat yourself. Weight Watchers desserts are a girl's best friend.
Tropicana Pure Premium Orange Juice has only one ingredient. So no other major brand comes closer to this than this. Now, what are you waiting for? Try it. Oh yes, there is one other thing. Pure Premium now comes in a slightly larger package. 96 ounces, to be exact.
Fresh and Natural brand is 100% pure Florida orange juice that's not made from concentrate. And you know, Tropicana Pure Premium is too. But what you may not know is that they sometimes freeze some of their juice and then blend it back in with fresh juice. We never do. And the cold fact is, in a one-on-one taste test, more New Yorkers thought Fresh and Natural tasted closer to fresh squeezed than Tropicana Pure Premium. Fresh and Natural, never frozen. You can taste the difference.
Our next movie is named Erik the Viking, and it's yet another one of those overblown, expensive, hopelessly confused British special effects fantasies where you lose your place 10 minutes into the plot and you don't even care enough to try to find it again. The whole point of the movie seems to be to spend millions of dollars on sets and visual effects so that clever British actors can make stupid small talk in the midst of all this grandeur. The movie stars Tim Robbins, not a British actor, by the way, as Erik the Viking, and this opening scene sets the tone for the movie. We're supposed to be amused because of the modern dialogue in a historical time frame, but it's not amusing, and the scene is so awkward that it's not funny, it's embarrassing.
Have you done this sort of thing before?
Me? Of course. I've been looting and pillaging up and down the coast.
Looting and pillaging, eh?
Yes.
What about the raping?
Shut up.
Well, it's obvious you haven't raped anyone in your life.
Horrible. And is there anything funny about this scene with John Cleese as an absent-minded torturer?
Erik and the men of Ravensfield are setting off to cross the Western Ocean.
Lucky things. I could do with a holiday, I could tell you. All this financial work, you know. The stress really gets you. Flame alive, garrote him, and then behead him.
The movie was directed by Terry Jones and can be seen here playing a king who cannot see Erik because Erik is wearing a magic invisibility cloak.
Where is he?
Who's Father?
Who have you got in here, horse?
Well, there's no one, Father.
I smell one of those foreigners. That's who it is, isn't it? He's the fifth one this week. All right, where is he?
Well, the gag there is that the cloak doesn't really make him invisible, but he's only invisible to the king, which will lead to complications later on. Erik the Viking can be summed up in one word, actually in two words, self-indulgence. Or is that one hyphenated word? Not sure. Enormous amounts of money, time, and talent were thrown away on this shapeless and boring would-be comedy, which is so convinced of its genius that it can't even be bothered to be comprehensible. I hated this movie, frame after frame, scene after scene, sequence after sequence, until finally, in the fullness of the entire film, I was able to hate it as a complete unit.
I had the same reaction. I mean, when a film tries to be funny and it's shooting out lots of lines and you don't laugh once, you can build up a lot of hate to a picture, toward a picture. The whole gimmick is, as you point out, contemporary dialogue in ancient dress. Now, if the lines are funny enough, but we've seen this sort of Monty Python kind of thing before. It has worked sometimes, doesn't work here. They just get off to the wrong foot. They never regain anything, nothing fresh at all.
And there's another thing, too. They don't have a comic point for a lot of the scenes. They've gone to a lot of expense to build Viking boats and put them presumably in big tanks with special effects to make them look like they're in the middle of storms and things. But they don't have, a lot of those scenes are utterly pointless, so you just have people holding onto the mast while water is splashed in their face, and they say dialogue that couldn't be edited out because if you did, then you wouldn't have any movie at all, and yet why is it in there since they're not saying anything? Over and over again, it seems as if the production is the point here, rather than any thought having gone into the story, the screenplay, making it funny, making it clever. It's just a waste of money.
Not to mention everyone's time. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. 2 thumbs up for Johnny Handsome, directed by Walter Hill, a properly mean thriller starring Mickey Rourke and a bunch of wonderful supporting performers. A split vote on the modern cowboy and Indian drama War Party. Roger didn't care for the unrelenting racism. I thought that was the whole point of the picture. 2 thumbs down for Welcome Home, a Vietnam drama with a good idea rendered unsatisfying because of an over-gimmicked script. 2 enthusiastic thumbs up for John Amiel's Queen of Hearts, a memoir of growing up Italian in London. And finally, 2 thumbs down for the awful comedy Erik the Viking, featuring dumb contemporary jokes in ancient dress. So the pictures that we're both recommending are Queen of Hearts and also Johnny Handsome. I'd like to see Johnny Handsome again. It caught me by surprise in a lot of ways.
You know, occasionally we talk about how certain actors or actresses are sort of a brand name, and that if you see them in a movie, you can just about bet you're going to have an interesting time. I think Mickey Rourke falls in that category. He doesn't always make good movies, but he never makes movies that are simply safe compromises.
Yeah, he takes risks, and that's refreshing. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll review Old Gringo, starring Jane Fonda and Gregory Peck, and An Innocent Man, starring Tom Selleck and F. Murray Abraham. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Redken Classics, hair care products formulated to create beautiful, healthy hair. So effective, their formulas transcend time. Available exclusively at salons. Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Now with 30 flavors, you can serve it every day for a month and never serve the same dish twice. The Plockman family has been making quality mustard since 1852. Enjoy Plockman's traditional mild yellow Dijon and stone ground mustard. Snowcaps, Raisinets, and Goobers. 3 big box office hits starring Nestle milk chocolate. Moviegoers give them a definite 2 thumbs up.